This is the Texas Medical Center, a world-class medical complex. Its standards of excellence are second to none in the care of patients, in scientific and medical research, and in the teaching of healthcare professionals. More than 100,000 people move through its boundaries every day. But little more than 40 years ago, this complex was only a dream. In 1939, Monroe D. Anderson, a wealthy cotton merchant, left some $19 million for the benefit of mankind. Mr. Anderson died before clarifying his specific wishes. But his trustees, in carrying out ideas expressed generally during conversations down through the years, soon began to envision a medical center. One of these trustees was Mr. John H. Freeman.
Medical center was set up by first getting the piece of land and then arranging with various institutions to make them grants of land in that area and to grant them certain funds if they would come in there and operate.
Triggered by the rich legacy of Mr. Anderson, all of Houston soon joined in with help and additional funding. Over the years, financial support has come from all directions and in generous quantities. By 1945, at the end of World War II, visions began to take form, and the sheer magnitude of the task became apparent.
The Anderson Foundation got the idea that this thing was too big for any one foundation, and it had to have the support of Texas. That's why it was a Texas Medical Center.
On November 1st, 1945, the Texas Medical Center was chartered under the laws of the state of Texas as a nonprofit corporation, exclusively for benevolent, charitable, and educational purposes. And so the vision of a few men became the dreams of many. And today, those dreams are reflected not only in the structures across the broad expanse of the Texas Medical Center, but in the quality of the work done in its institutions, both combined and separately.
A medical library is expected to offer the latest in books and journals for the health sciences, but here in the Texas Medical Center, library users can watch movies, attend continuing education seminars, or study a topic on television. The Houston Academy of Medicine Texas Medical Center Library is one of the largest medical libraries in the United States and the only such facility serving two medical schools, the University of Texas Medical School at Houston and the Baylor College of Medicine. While the library itself does not authorize borrower privileges, it serves 22 health institutions who financially support the library and who designate qualified users. Sarah Jean Jackson, Associate Director of Public Services, is constantly developing new programs and explains the role of the library in the Texas Medical Center.
We don't feel that this is a static, either collection or collection of services, but we try to continually accommodate to the needs of different groups of users, and the needs of a nursing student are entirely different from the practicing physician. And of course we serve not only the medical center students and faculty here, but also the physicians who are affiliated with Harris County Medical Society. And that's a whole different kind of need there as far as library service.
Borrowing privileges cover the building's collection of 57,000 books and almost 100,000 journals. But many people are unaware of the more unusual services available. There's an audio-visual department with a wide collection of slides, films, audio cassettes, and videotapes. Televisions here provide medical programming from the Health Science Center television network. A special leisure reading section offers popular books, magazines, local newspapers, and a paperback lending library. A reference staff is always on hand to answer questions or help with photocopy and computer search services. And for general interest, the library sponsors movies and seminars every month. With such an assortment of programs, the Texas Medical Center Library draws almost 1,000 students and faculty daily who continue to be enlightened and entertained, as well as educated. This is Betty Holmes for Midday. Hidden away on the second floor of the Houston Academy of Medicine Texas Medical Center Library is a room that houses the special collections. Here, medical history buffs could easily occupy their time browsing through rare 17th and 18th century books on anatomy or epidemic diseases. 3 separate collections actually comprise the 6,000-volume library. The Madding Collection is a series of public health books published from the 1600s to the 1800s, acquired when the Medical Center School of Public Health was initially approved. These books are most often used by students and faculty preparing papers or conducting research. The second collection was originally the private library of New York physician Dr. Reginald Burbank, who collected the books on rheumatism and arthritis in the 1920s and later donated the volumes to remain as a complete set. The Burbank collection boasts the oldest of the rare books, a manuscript of medical recipes and cures written in 1450. The remainder of the library is an assortment of general historic sources and early medical volumes collected through private gifts, such as a recent donation from Houston physician John McGovern. Though the volumes are rare and priceless here, the collection still grows and changes like any other library. A large part of Elizabeth White's job is locating dealers and books, and she explains how the collection acquires new titles.
We have a very specific collection development policy for the library. The books that we actually purchase are for the Madding collection on public health, because that helps support the public health programs here in the center, or for the Burbank collection on arthritis, rheumatism, and gout. And our feeling for that is that we want to make a strong collection, and that is our strongest collection, the Burbank collection, even stronger by adding the few items that we don't own. But our funds are limited, and so we just buy for the 2 specific collections. The rest of the things come through gifts.
In a medical center where advances make headlines, it's fun to discover a hideaway where medical history is being read, not made. This is Betty Holmes for Midday.
Obviously these weren't manufactured. I mean, this is all just...
This room doesn't look like any ordinary office, and it isn't any ordinary office. It is the home of the Art Showcase, run by this museum's curator, Bob Reinhardt. I talked with Bob about his office and how it came to look like this.
It just kind of started gradually here. I didn't come here with the idea of bringing my collection in, but when I saw all the open space and the emptiness, I started here first with this post. I started putting pictures up on it, and the Rolling Stone pictures on the cabinets. I think I put up one a week, and so it kind of grew on people, and I didn't, you know, come in and see everything in here overnight and be shocked by it. It has been quite well received by everyone who's been through here. I think just because of it's the unusualness of it. I try to get people involved in the collection, other employees in the library. A lot of the things in here have been donated to the collection, and I put a 3x5 card with the person's name as donor, and it keeps people interested in it. Also, I try to keep things changing, so there's always something new. For example, I have what I call poster of the week. Every week I put a different poster on one wall. Also, I invite other employees in the library to share their collections. On a monthly basis, people bring some collections of their own in, and I display them in an area that I call the Collector's Corner. I have a table set up where we can set things out so other employees can look at them and enjoy them. I think it kind of opens doors for people in a way that they think, well, if this guy can do this much, I ought to be able to do this for myself or whatever. I'm sure there are people who think, you know, it's definitely off the wall, and you know, I'm sure it is. But I think that I feel that you can be whatever you want to be. And
Nevertheless, inside these elaborately decorated walls, there is a job being done. Officially, the basement office is headquarters for building operations, including building maintenance, mail services, supplies, and the shelving of books. Bob's associate, Ben Olivas, handles the mail and delivers it to the library offices on this mail truck. Bob and Ben get the job done, but always with a sense of humor, of course.
For me, having my personal effects around like this, it makes a comfortable environment for me to work in. Now, if I had to take everything away, I wouldn't be able to stand the starkness of the room after having it like this.
There's no guarantees of the kind of company you'll find if you do decide to drop by the art showcase, but take your chances and come on and see it, because it's definitely worth the visit. You can come by between 9 and 5 Monday through Friday, or possibly make arrangements for special hours with Bob. Any donations that are, quote-unquote, deemed acceptable by the curator might even win you a key card to the Red Light Lounge. This is Kathy Robertson for Midday.
You also mentioned microcomputers now. Tell us about this.
It's kind of new for us. We've just been doing this for a few months now. We've had the microcomputers down since last spring, I think, and we've really got kind of two services that we're offering on the microcomputer. First of all, they're there for anyone who would like to learn how to use them. So we have some software like word processing and file management and some other things like that anybody that wants to try out and maybe has some projects they'd like to do on the microcomputer is welcome to come down, and we'll offer what expertise we've gained to get them started and show them how to use it. And then
Well, now you're saying anybody. You're not just talking about med students or faculty. I can go put my Christmas list on there?
Sure, sure, if you like. They're getting busier, though, so it's good to work ahead, you know, if you can get down there early. But they're there for people throughout the medical center who would like to learn how to use them.
That's really terrific, because there are so many people who think, well, I'd really like to have a computer, but I don't know what they can do. This is a way for them to find out what it can do.
The other thing is I think many of the grade school students now are getting exposed to these things, but the students that we're working with who are post-degree or whatever have missed this in their educational experience because the computers came in after they had gone through grade school, high school, or whatever, so this is a first chance for many of them to be exposed to this. The other thing that we're adding, or trying to add as we can find it, is educational software that's written for the microcomputer, which is a real interesting new type of media. Some of the things that we have present the student with a patient, hypothetical patient,
Right.
which will give findings and whatever, and then we'll ask the student what they would do next, what tests would they order.
Great.
And the student can type in whatever tests they want to order and get the results back and actually work through and make a diagnosis on the computer rather than a real patient.
A risk-free situation then.
Yes.
That's great. I'm Sally Webb, and with us today is Sarah Jean Jackson. Sarah Jean is Associate Director for Public Service at the Texas Medical Center Library. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I understand that you're overseeing a program at the library called Micros and Medicine. Tell us what it's about.
Well, fine, I'd be glad to. Micros in Medicine is a computer fair that we're sponsoring in the library, really as a result of a lot of questions we have received over the last probably a year and a half maybe, from people who have microcomputers and want to know how to fully utilize them, I think, and particularly in the area of information retrieval and information management. Someone has an Apple. Can that person do a Medline search on an Apple computer? And what are the problems with doing that? Can they do as good a Medline search as someone in the library? That kind of thing. So what we are doing is bringing together a lot of computer people, microcomputer people, hardware vendors. We'll have a lot of software representatives. We have some database producers. We have Biosis, BRS, CompuServe. We're bringing these people together in the library in the form of what we're calling a microcomputer fair, Micros in Medicine. And to give our library users a chance to talk to these people, to get some hands-on experience.
So they can, in fact,
that's right. They can
play with the computer,
They
if you
can
will.
do all of that. In fact, that's what we think this will be a small enough fair that they can have a chance to talk to as many people as they're interested in talking with.
Great. Well, I can see that this is different from some of the other computer fairs. Are there some other
Well,
advantages?
That's a good question because there have been, in fact, two in particular computer fairs held just recently. And we think that our fair will have special attraction to people in the medical center because that's the audience it's aimed at. And everything that we will be showing will be geared specifically for medical purposes or educational purposes. So we think there is a big difference in the fair we're putting on and the fair the fairs that have gone on in other parts of town, which have been aimed at a broader audience.
Right. What sort of equipment will you have there, hardware and software?
We'll have hardware and software, but let me talk, I think, just a minute about the kinds of exhibitors we'll have because I think that's of interest. In addition to all of the commercial vendors, the ones I've mentioned, we will have, and this will be, I think, especially appealing to people in the medical center, we're having medical center people who themselves will be demonstrating their own micro applications, things that they have developed. We have, for instance, Dr. Frank Simon at UT Medical School who will be demonstrating his program on, I think he's matching patient cases with residency training, and that should be interesting. Dr. Ed Howard from UT Nursing School will be demonstrating an interactive video kind of thing.
That's interesting.
Dr. Elton Stubblefield from Anderson will be talking about and demonstrating his famed killer T cell. So he'll be there.
Well, that's fun.
And these people, I didn't mention the fact that in addition to the exhibits, we'll also have formal presentations going on concurrently. Now, the exhibits will be held in the library. The entire basement of the library will be given over to booths and exhibitors. But we're using Baylor's auditorium, Cullen Auditorium, for presentations, and these will be, we think we have a good program. The kickoff speech will be by Dr. Walter Pankow from Baylor, who will be talking on about microcomputers. A lot of networking discussions, interactive networking. David Vail from UT will be discussing the UT's
the local area
the
network.
local area network.
Good.
That's right. And then another session will feature, again, it's called TMC Roundtable, and it will feature these same people who will be demonstrating over in the library, but they will also have a chance to describe their programs in a presentation manner.
Great. Now you mentioned Apple and maybe IBM.
Apple, we have IBM, Hewlett-Packard, Sperry, Digital Equipment. Those are the ones, the hardware dealers that I can think of. Texas Instruments. In addition to the hardware, as I said, we have really a good variety of software people. We have different kinds of applications. I think in addition to information retrieval, we have things on information management, and not related specifically to library materials, but office practice management.
Oh, really?
So we think it'll be broad enough, but yet of specific interest to the medical community.
Since it began in 1949, the Houston Academy of Medicine Texas Medical Center Library has never hesitated to meet the challenge of the future. At the dedication of the new Jesse H. Jones Library building in 1954, Dr. Chauncey D. Leake announced the purpose of the library was to make its collection of knowledge readily available to all who wish to use it for the promotion of health or the management and control of disease. In the decades that followed, the library never strayed from its original purpose to make knowledge accessible to the entire community. Now, the library is embarked on an exciting 5-year plan to continue this mission.
We launched the program initially with generous grant support from the Houston Endowment and from the MD Anderson Foundation. The 5-year plan includes a program to develop a health informatics education center, a consumer health information service area, a knowledge management center with a family of knowledge network databases, and an annual program to sponsor conferences in computers in healthcare for the medical center and the community. We're involved in telemedicine, in teleconferencing, and the use of remote distance learning to bring the resources to the users wherever they may be.
Maybe the core of our outreach activities is trying to touch people in the places where they study, in the places where they work, so that we can show them how the library has a role in their daily lives. And so we try to go to them to show them how they can use their computers that they have in their offices to access materials on the web, from the library, etc., and bring that information right into their workplace.
We use the Medline and our electronic access on a daily basis here in the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit at Texas Children's Hospital. As a tertiary care center, we have cases that have been referred in often because of their complex or they're unusual. When we come to an issue that is something that we need to find the latest literature on, or there's a question on, or there's a debate about the proper therapy, then we use Medline.
I'm a research nurse for Baylor here at Texas Children's, and we do several different things, but with the library, I am interested in studies that either have happened or that we are thinking about doing. Here we're usually interested in things that have to do with children, and a few years ago we did a study with a topical anesthetic for children that they really liked quite a bit, that we'd rub on their skin before we'd start an IV, and it would numb the skin so they wouldn't feel the IV being started. And we felt that was a really nice step for children that have to have blood drawn regularly or IV started regularly.
Some of the training I've received at UT has involved multidisciplinary activities. The Medical Center Library gives access to the resources to every school that's around here. The nursing school, it's the other medical school in the area, Baylor, and I can meet with colleagues there and we can discuss cases. We can all find our respective journals that would be of interest to us specifically. And the Medical Center Library is very good about addressing everyone's needs.
As one of the National Library of Medicine's 8 regional medical libraries, the library addresses the needs of users in a vast 5-state area. An additional library service is internet access to free Medline. The McGovern Historical Collection and Research Center has long been a valuable resource within the library. Physician and medical historian William Osler said, "In the continual remembrance of a glorious past, individuals and nations find their noblest inspiration." The library is still inspired to make its collection of knowledge available to all who wish to use it. Every day, the tremendous power of the library's information technology improves the lives of ordinary people. It can bring the latest in science to a doctor's office in a remote corner of New Mexico, or simply reach across the campus to the bedside of a sick child in the Texas Medical Center.
Part of the excitement is that we have a body of wonderful friends. We have the Friends of the Library, we have the library board, we have foundations and institutions, and many individuals that are helping us support this program. It will help us build the library for the 21st century, the virtual library for the next millennium.